Hello? Hello. Sorry for the slight technical issue. We'll now continue on building the outline for the Deepslate castle. So I wanted to continue this outline going all the way around over here. And I want to try and make it very big because I want to have as much detail on this Deepslate castle. So, if you haven't already, please do remember to subscribe. And if you subscribe, you can see the number going up in the corner. So, let's just continue this outline all the way along. I think I want the outline to be a bit bigger than what it currently is. So I think I'll extend this part here so that there's a bit more of a difference in shape rather than just having a square box. And by continuing this out, it should make the build look a lot more detailed as well. Oh, it's now turning into night, so I'm going to set the time today. So now I'm just going to remove this center part because it's no longer necessary and we have the full outline. Hello, I'm back. So now we're just going to continue and create more of an outline for some of the other areas. For example, I want to have a well just right here. So I'm just going to create a bit of an outline over here for a well. I need to make sure that these are all the same size. This one needs to be a bit bigger. So by just extending this, we can create a circle. This will be the well that I'm going to build later on in the stream. This will be the well for the later on in the stream. I hope you're all enjoying this stream, and any suggestions for what to do inside the castle would be much appreciated. So I'm now going to add a bridge that will connect this side of the castle to this side over here, which I intend to have a dockyard. So by using a mixture of spruce, and a campfire, I'm going to create this. And thank you all for showing up for this stream. So now by adding some more details like spruce trapdoors, we can add, it makes the bridge look a lot more detailed. See, this looks a lot more detailed. Now to get rid of the campfires, I just need to add some water. And rather than just placing water buckets, you can use splash potions of water bottles. Just like that. And now you have a much more detailed bridge. Then by adding some fence blocks as well, we can add even more details to make it look like the bridge is being held up by these blocks. It's turning night again, so I'm going to set the time to day. Then I'm going to add a lantern on top. This will add even more detail to the bridge. Just like this. There we go. The FOV should be a lot clearer now, making it a lot easier for you to see what I'm doing. Now I'm just going to add a bit of a base for the Deepslate. Using a mixture of Deepslate and cobbled Deepslate, I'm going to do this. By having this all at a similar level, it's going to look a lot nicer and neater. And now we have over 20 people watching, so if you haven't already, do remember to subscribe, as that would be very much appreciated. So, I just need to have them all at... I want to have many different bases at different heights. For example, this front section I'm going to have at a higher height than the back section. Just like this, where I have this section higher. And I'll probably have a lower section just in front. Like that. Because now I can have a section up here where you can stand on, and then I can have much more of a castle. Just like that. So, using also another cool trick you can do is by having the deep slate at different orientations so that the wall doesn't look as flat. See, that looks a lot more detailed. Now I want to have this section a lot higher than the original section. I hope you're all enjoying this stream at the moment. Oh, it's turning night again, time to change it to day. So I'm just going to continue this outline all the way along. So, by continuing this, and then I'm going to raise this outline at this end a bit higher than the other end. So I'm going to raise this part 3 blocks higher than that end. Hello? There was just a bit of a technical difficulty there, where the internet connection of the stream just cut out, so very sorry about that. So I'm just going to continue this back part right here a little bit further. So, I hope you're all having fun watching me build this Deepslate castle, and if you have any suggestions of what I could add inside this Deepslate castle, feel free to leave them in the live chat. As I'll be more than happy to take your suggestions. So, let me just continue. And I'm just going to build this part along as well. So now we've kind of got basic shapes of where I want this area to look like. So now I'm just going to add part of some spruce. So I'm just going to add layers of spruce. / time set noon. So I want these areas to be walking paths when I continue and finish off this castle. So I'm going to leave them there for now. So now I'm just going to extend that part back. And now my next step will be to just add some more Deepslate bricks even, as boundaries. Just like this. So I'm just going to do this around the entire castle. Just like you can see what I'm doing now. So, after I've added a bit more of these support structures, just like that. I'm just going to continue this part downwards. And I'm just going to add in some grass over here. just so that it's not floating over some water. As floating castles aren't really a real thing in life. Now, after building that up a bit, I'm going to now add some more Deepslate behind it. However, I am going to add it in a bit more of a neater formation. Like an arc shape. I'm just going to use the F3 menu to double check the height. That was side 79 and this side is also 79. Up here is 83 and over here is 83. So I'm now going to build this up another few blocks. And then I'm going to build this side across and up by one. And finally, I'm then going to connect it. Oh, time to set it to noon again. So this will be one of the main windows in the museum. This will be one of the main windows in the Deepslate castle. Now I'm just going to add some more details so that it looks more connected. Like removing this one block here. Now I'm going to remove this block and this one. Oh, it's now 4 o'clock, so I'm just going to double check to see if the new snapshot is released. Oh, good news, the new snapshot's just been released, so I'm going to have a quick look at it, along with you guys along on stream. So, just bear with me for just a quick second while I'm opening up the new Minecraft snapshot. (21W14A) is the name of this new snapshot. And inside there's some new items. For example, raw copper, raw iron and raw gold. So I'm going to be experimenting it live with you. So we're going to create a new world. I hope you're all excited for these new raw ores. So let's have a quick look at what they look like. So we've got raw iron, raw copper, and raw gold. So, to get these new ores, you need to get a furnace. The ore that you desire to smelt, like copper ore. And that will give you that ore. And that will give you the copper ore. However, if you were to mine the copper ore, you were using a pickaxe without silk touch, you get the raw form. This applies for all three of the ores: gold, iron, and copper. There was also a lot of bug fixes in this update, but mainly it was just this new feature. So why don't we try it out with some of the other ores? With gold ore as well. Now, what can you do with this new raw gold? Well, to get it into ingots, you've then got to smelt it as well. And this will give you a gold ingot. This will work the same with copper and iron, as you can see, just like this. So that's the new features in the Snapshot 21W14A. So, that's all you need to know about the new Snapshot. Okay, so now I just need to enter the other snapshot. Now I just need to re-enter the snapshot because I accidentally just left it. So, there's not really a lot of details we can add with the build with these new ores. So we're just going to continue building up using the Deepslate. And I'm glad some of you really liked the new Snapshot. So I'm now just going to reopen the stream world. And I'm going to continue building the Deepslate castle. So just as I have this before, I'm now going to build behind this. Ooh. Yep. I'm just going to build behind this. And I'm just going to continue another layer of this outline. However, this time above. This will give a bit more depth to the castle. And while I'm here, I'm also going to remove this second layer of Deepslate. So then behind this, I'm then going to build up to roughly the height I want this area to be of the castle. I think about there is a bit too high, so I'm going to just reduce it a bit. And now I'm going to build this part up. So I'm then going to continue this part along. I'm going to build up this area. So while building this live, you could also copy along and build it too in your own worlds. Also, Galaxy, I see you've typed in chat that the snapshot's out, and the snapshot has come out, but it only added a few things called raw ores. These raw ores you get by mining the normal ore form, just without a silk touch pickaxe. And then you need to smelt the raw ore forms to create the ingot form. These are what the new raw ores look like. There's raw iron, copper, and gold. Also, the A gamer. I have an MSI PC. So I'm just going to continue building this part along. Just like that. There we go. And I'm going to continue this outline. And connect that up. So now we have one of the side walls. I want to add a bit more detail, so I'm going to remove this part here and make it into an arch. I'm just going to quickly set the time to day. I'm just going to add the arch. Because now this area can have a bit more detail. And I'm also going to continue out this arch on the other side. So I'm just going to quickly do that by building this along to about here and curve that back round. Now I'm going to build this part upwards. And I'd really appreciate if any of you guys still watching would subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you. So now I'm going to rebuild that arch over on the other side. I'm then going to connect this side. Oh, that's a bit too far. Same on this side. I'm going to connect it up. That way I'll have a bit more detail on this side of the wall. And then I can add this Deepslate bricks. So now I'm just going to get some Deepslate walls, polished Deepslate walls, and add a few here and there. And then fill in the rest of the walls with Deepslate tile walls. So each of these sections of the arch will look a bit like this. And I've also, just looking at it, I think I'm going to remove this part, and replace it with the stair variant. As I think that will add a bit more depth into the build. Now I'm just going to add a layer of Deepslate bricks underneath, as that means we can then place the walls with no gaps. So, just like before, I'm going to place a few polished Deepslate walls, and then the rest I'm going to have with tile walls. So, I'm then going to continue this path all the way along. And just like we did on the other layer, I'm then going to remove this. Oh. Yep. I'm going to place on the top. And then in line with the stairs, I then am going to place another layer of bricks. To then place some more polished Deepslate walls. So that's part of the roof so far. Now I'm just going to, for the top part, just have stairs going all the way along, which should take a bit of time, but not too long. Now, I'm not going to entirely repeat this on the other side, because I want to have the wall stop just here. So I'm then going to add the stairs. Ooh. There we go. And then I'm going to do that on this layer. And finally the top layer I'm going to use bricks for. So now I'm just going to fill this in. This part of the roof in. But like I said before, we need to add some bricks in line with the stairs, so that there's no gaps between the walls and the top. So then I'm just going to add the mixture. There we go. And then fill in the rest of the area with Deepslate walls. Just like this. Also, I've just seen a comment that I am not live, and this is a live stream, by the way. So, just to keep you all aware. So anything you say in the chat, I will try to read as much as I possibly can. So now we've got both sides of the arch completed. So I'm just going to add some more cobbled Deepslate just there, so it's still in line, and then add. There we go. Now I'm just going to add another layer of the bricks just here. And I'm just going to have a quick step back and have a look. Well, this wall looks a bit too flat, so I'm just going to add an extra pillars here and here. And then why not have some stairs just like that. And then I can add some stairs over here as well. Just make them look more like arches. So now I'm going to come over to the other side and just add a bit more of a flat wall over here. At this height. And thank you all for those who are still watching the stream, even though the snapshot's already been out. I really appreciate that. I'm going to add some more there. And then some more Deepslate. Just like that other wall, this one looks way too flat, so I'm going to add some more pillars. And then using some polished deep slate walls, I'm going to line the edges. Oh, it's turning night again, so time to set it to day. And now I'm just going to add some more deep slate along this section here that I've just created. And I'm just going to fill this apart with wool. And then behind it, I'm going to have some more deep slate. Oh. There we go. Later on, I will be replacing some of the deep slate with windows. Okay, so now I'm going to add a massive window here. So I'm just going to clear my inventory. So using glass panes, I'm going to use a mixture of black, grey, and light grey. So I'm going to place a few black glass and then a few of the other colours. However, on the corners, just like this, I'm just going to place some deep slate walls, some deep slate bricks, so that it looks more like a curved shape. So I'm just going to quickly add some different colours. Just going to add all these. Because I want this to feel like a much more of an older build. So I'm just going to fill in the entire area with grey. And then I'm going to swap out some of the grey for other colours. So I'm just going to do that. This shouldn't take too long, but here we go. So if I'm just going to continue this all the way along, removing that. Glass panes can be quite frustrating to place as they have a very small hitbox. So I'm just going to continue this along. And now I'm going to swap out some of the areas for black glass. Oh, that was a mistake. And then a few no at the bottom with grey glass. And then a few gaps as well. So now we have a bit more depth on this side of the wall. I'm then going to build this part up. And then just make it curved a bit more. Like that. Now I'm just going to get some slabs. And place in some of the slabs. Just like that. Now we have a bit more of an arch there. Then I'm going to have these, and I'm going to actually swap these out for some deep slate emerald ore. This will add a bit more colour, but also still keep the deep slate. Now I'm just going to fill in this side wall over here. So I'm just going to have to connect these edges. with the corresponding one over here. Now I'm just going to continue building this downwards. And then I'm going to add another layer of walls, of bricks. And then behind it, I'm going to use some more Deepslate. So, time to set the time to noon, and then add another layer on top, just like that. If you're enjoying the stream, please do make sure to like it. Or you could put a thumbs up in the chat. I'm just going to grab some more walls. And I'm going to add some more emerald ore just behind here. Now I'm going to get an item frame, a glowing item frame, and then get one of the new raw ores that are in this snapshot, and see if it works well in the corner. I don't quite think that that works very well, so I'm not going to keep that. But for any of you who weren't here earlier, there's these new raw items. So when you mine a new ore, when you mine one of the ores, you get what's called raw iron, or raw copper, or raw gold. And then to turn this into ingots, you just need to smelt them. So that side is now complete, in my opinion. Now this part of the arch, I don't quite like. I think it's a bit too wonky on this side, so I'm just going to partially remove it. So I'm then going to continue building this part upwards. I like having this part of the arch, and then I'm going to lower it a bit more this time. Now, building this part upwards. I need to make sure that these are at the same heights, so this one is at Y level 87. And this one is at Y level 87 now. Then building this one up by one, and then connecting the two sides. I prefer this much more. So now I'm just going to add a bit more walls underneath so that they're a bit more even. I'm going to connect this side over here. Over to this side. Then in this top section, I'm going to get some more Deepslate ores. However, this time I'm going to get a mixture of diamond and redstone, as these can be some more additional colors that we can add in the background, and put them in the top. Just like this. The stream has now been going on for over an hour, so I really appreciate those who have stuck around throughout the whole thing. Now I'm just going to add a bit of redstone. Build this section up by 1. And now I'm just going to add a bit more Deepslate. Now using some more of the slabs, I'm then going to continue this part along, so you can only see part of the ore. So then I'm going to do the same over here. And then I'm going to have a layer over here. And then a layer of stairs for a bit more detail. And then slabs on top of those stairs. And then finally I'm going to add a load of slabs on top of these. Now I think there's a bit too much of the blue and the red, so I'm going to swap out a few of them for the emerald. And I think there's too much diamond as well, so I'm just going to swap out some of that for Deepslate. Just like this. Now time to set to noon. So what are your opinions on the castle so far? Now I'm just going to build this part out. Then to build this part up, add in some more Deepslate. Just like that. And I think I'll remove this pillar so that it has a bit more space and it looks a bit different from the other layers. And then I'm going to keep building this part up. Just like that. There we go. I'm then going to add a few details to the corners, like stairs, just so that each side does not look as flat. Just looking back at this section, I think there's too many ores, so I'm just going to remove this to see where the ores are. And I think there's a few too many, so I'm just going to remove some more of them and only leave a few, because I think it's a bit too overpowering. And now I'm going to add back some more of the slabs. However, on the top section, I'm just going to remove all the ores. And just like that, it looks a little bit more neater and not too overpowering with the ores. Now I don't want to increase the height of this anymore, so I'm going to continue building this part out. So about here, and then I'm going to build this part out, And then I'm going to use stairs. And then using some more Deepslate bricks can create a bit more of the roof. Now I'm going to do a similar thing on the other side. Oh, and I see B-Dog and Snowy Lion like this so far. So thank you for engaging in the chat. Oh, that one's a bit too high. So now I can just add some more walls over here. And then some more stairs. And now I'm just going to continue this part outwards along with this to make it even. Now because I have the extra space on this side, I'm now just going to bring this down a block so that it's in line with this part. I'm going to add the mixture of walls just like I've done before over here. So now to use the mixture of polished Deepslate walls and Deepslate tiles. There we go. Time to set it to day again. And now we have a bit more of that complete. Now I'm going to bring this part along to this wall. I'm going to bring this part up. I'm going to then extend this over here. To then create much more of a neater outline. So I'm then going to have this part and this part removed. There we go. This will be one of the platforms you'll be able to stand on in the castle. So thank you for all of the people that are still with the live stream. It's very much so appreciated. So I'm now just going to continue this part outwards as a way for people to stand on. Just like this. There we go. Now there's a platform for people to stand on. And this area here, I'm going to have as some more stairs leading downwards. So, but not using these stairs, I'm going to be using other Deepslate stairs. Just the regular cobbled Deepslate stairs. Ivan, the snapshot was released about 40 minutes ago, but it didn't add too much. It just added something called raw ores. And a raw ore is what you get from mining a normal ore, but not using any silk touch or fortune. You get what's called raw ores. Now these raw ores you can then smelt to create the actual ingot form. So now I'm just going to continue building this. So let me just continue building this part up. Add a bit over. Oh, add a bit over here. Connect them up, and then fill the rest in with Deepslate. And now you have a bit more of a walkway down to here where you can look over the area. So now I'm going to head back up. And I'm going to ask, what are your opinions on the front face of the castle so far? Oh, we just gained 2 subscribers, so thank you very much for those who have just subscribed. I really appreciate those who subscribe, and they take a lot of time making these videos, and in this live stream. So thank you very much. So I'm just going to add a bit of glass on top of this part of the castle, so you can look down. So, getting a bit of tinted glass, which is a new block in Minecraft 1.17, and create. There we go. This will be one of the windows. I'm actually going to move this down one so that there's a bit more depth. Go. And now this is being moved down one. Now with tinted glass, what it does is it makes it look like really dark from underneath, regardless if it's day or night. For example, when it's day, it's still a lot darker in here. We just need to add more of the walls. Oh, B-Dog, you like the front face. I'm glad you do. Thank you. So, for this area, I'm actually going to make it the entrance. So, I'm going to add some... So, I'm going to add the door right in this area. So now I'm going to get some logs, as I can use some of the logs as part of the door. I'm just going to see how high I want this door to be. I think this height should be good. So I'm going to add this part. And I'm going to do this on both sides, going all the way up to here, then the same on here, building all the way up, and then building a lot more up over here. I'm going to build this side along by 2. I think this is a bit too big, so I'm going to just remove the original 2 that were here. I think that looks quite good as a front face. So I'm then just going to add a bit more of these. Ooh, there we go. And I'm just going to continue this part downwards and build this area up so there's a bit more of a frame to the door. Just like that. And then in this section, I'm going to add some tinted glass. just as some extra detail. Then up here, I'm going to be using some stairs. And I'm going to do some more at front there. And I'm going to fill the rest of the section behind this with Deepslate. Just like this. There we go. Some more Deepslate. Just over here. And now let me just have a quick look from the front. This actually looks quite nice. So I'm then going to just remove these, place them back. And then just behind here, I'm going to add another layer like that. And we'll be back to the front here when we're doing the interior. So now I'm going to add some more walls, just like here. As more support structures. And as a way to get up to this door, I'm just going to add a bit more of a platform for you to stand on in front of the door. It's going to be built just over here. I'm removing this area. And then adding some stairs underneath, and attempts at noon, and just by adding some more stairs at the front, slowly going to come closer and closer to the floor. Just like this. And I'm also adding these underparts as well, so that the stairs don't just look floating. I might also have to move the markings for the well. And there we go. Just need to keep adding this. And with that, the stairs are complete. But they do look a bit like lacking a bit of structure. So I'm going to add some of these walls just like that, so that they have a bit more structure. And in the center, having them just like this. And just like that. And while this looks a bit too straight, so I'm going to add a bit more detail on the sides. Just like this. I'm then going to add a bit more details. A few more details, just like that. Oh. And with that, we then have one side of the walls complete, and then using the stairs. Underneath. Just like that. I'm now going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, and just like that. This side is complete. And now by adding the stairs, they are both complete. Then I'm going to get some fences. I'm going to get some dark oak and some lanterns. However, I'm going to use some soul lanterns, as I think these will be a bit more of a nicer detail. So I'm going to put one on here and add a soul lantern, just like that. Then I'm going to do one at the top, just like this. And I have an idea for the handle on the door. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but using the raw ore as a handle, it does not quite work, so I'm not going to quite keep it. But that's another use. But the raw ores will have plenty of other uses, I'm sure. So I'm just going to add a bit more details to the other side of the arches, as I think they need some more detail, as they look very flat and boring. There we go. And just like that, most of the arches have been added. There we go, this looks a lot more detailed. So this section over here, I'm going to make a lot bigger of a walkway. You can walk all the way around the side of the castle. So this walkway is going to go all the way over to here. And I'm going to add some more detail to this side of the wall. So I hope you're all enjoying me. I hope you're all enjoying watching me build this castle. And who knows, you could build this in your own words as well. You can just watch the stream and follow along. And there we go. Then to add a bit more detail and to set the time today. Oh, that's slightly incorrect. And now a few blocks across. This one's a bit too far, so I'm just going to have to bring it a bit closer. So I'm going to destroy this part and then bring it back down. Just like that. Now I'm going to go into the center with 2 blocks and bridge up. Just like that. Adding some walls there, some walls there, some there, and there. And just like that, we have a few more arches and another walkway. Now this part doesn't quite look right, so I'm just going to extend that outwards. And build this part outwards as well. So then we've got a bit more of a walkway. And I actually think I want to continue this walkway, because I think it would be a nice idea to have this walkway going all the way along over to about here and then stopping. Then placing these in, and then placing the rest of the Deepslate. Just like this. There we go. And with that, there's the walking platform is continued. And I'll add another arch as well, just over here. So, placing that, leaving a 2 blocks gap, placing another one. There we go. Another arch is built. Now this side, I want to be a lot less, just like the other side, but a lot less extravagant with the roofs and stuff like that. So I'm just going to build this part along, and I'm going to fill in the gaps. There we go, building that part along. Just like this. And there we go. We've now got a few more walls to work with. So there we go, continue building this. Just like that. And then we can continue doing this where we have some more walls. Just like that. There we go. Now I'm just going to continue this part along a bit further. And I'm going to add some bricks over here. Ooh, over here. Align the two up. And then add. And then fill the rest in with the deep slate. Just like this. There we go. And then building along. Oh, I just saw we gained another subscriber, so thank you for whoever subscribed. And now I'm just going to set the time to night. There we go. And now we have a big wall, so I'm going to then detail it by adding some more arches, just like these ones that I'm creating. 2, 3, 4. I'm now crafting these, and then finally we can have a 2 wide arch in the center. So then I'm just going to add a bit more of the arches, just like that, and another arch just like that. There we go. Now this section I want to do something a bit more different rather than just having a load of arches. So at the back here, I'm just going to continue this part out. Also, hello Niall Andrews. The snapshot is out, but it didn't add a lot. It just added raw ores, which you get from mining regular ores, but without silk touch or fortune. And a raw ore looks like this. It looks there's either raw iron, raw copper, and raw gold. Hopefully that helps. So then I'm going to continue this part outwards. And then connect this. And now I'm going to just continue this path bit out along. Just like that. There we go. Now I'm just going to build this part out and along. But this area is going to be a bit taller than the rest. It's going to go a bit higher. And this is going to be a walkway when I build the interior. So I can continue building this part along, building this part up, and connecting them. There we go. Now to connect this part, I'm just going to loop it round. One block further back. Just like that. I'm going to fill this area with walls in just a second. So there we go. And I'm just filling this area in with the Deepslate. So, we're just going to continue building this with Deepslate. There we go. And once I finish this, I'm then going to build more of the roof. Okay, so now I can just continue building this one up. Avengers Infinity Snapshot. Wait, was there a second snapshot? So the snapshot added raw ores, which you get from mining normal ores without silk touch or fortune. This is an iron one, a copper one, and a gold one. And then to get the ingot version, you just need to smelt them. And there we go, it's day again. Now with this one, I'm then going to have another wall just here, because I want to have some more of the emerald ore, as well as some glass. So I'm then going to add some walls here, 3. That's got a gap of 3. There we go. And this side, I'm actually going to make a door once doing the interior. There we go. Oh. Whoops. Some of the areas I'm just going to leave because they are going to be used later. And then I'll have a bit of Deepslate. Now to build some more pillars, just like there. And there. I'm then going to add some more emerald ore. Because soon I'm going to be adding one of the main roofs on this building. And then I can just add a wall there. And then some more arches just right here. So there we go. And there we go. And then to add some arches just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to fill in this area with more Deepslate. Then I'm going to fill this one in, more Deepslate. And there we go. Oh, this one's a bit too far close, so I'm going to move it back a block. There we go. Fill that in and fill this in. This should only take a few seconds to fill in. And now the area that's left, I'm just going to expand the walkway that was already here. Just like this, and expanding the walkway. And I'll add some pillars there to create even more. And while we're here, we might as well just break open part of the wall here to represent how there's more area for you to just walk through, so you can come from this side of the path, go back through, and then have a great view over the ocean. Okay, now I'm just going to expand this part over here. I'm just going to build this area out just like this, and there we go. Expand it out. And there we go. And then we can keep building this along. Keep building this. And then keep filling the area in. I've got 300. I have 362. I think the counter might just be a little bit slow. That's all. So I'm just going to set the time to noon. So now I'm going to add some of the bigger areas for the roof. So I'm going to expand this out by 1 block. Same with this one. And then I'm going to expand this side out as well. So I'm now just going to keep building this along. Just like this, where I'm going to have this side loop round straight into this roof over here. Then just behind this, I'm then going to have the walls. So then I can add some more of the walls. There we go. And the tiles as well. And then we can add some blocks on the top. And then stairs going around it. This is going to be quite difficult. There we go. And there we go. That's one side, and now I just need to do the other side as well. So I'm just going to remove that block, these blocks, and actually replace this top layer with stairs. So, yep, and this should only take me a few minutes. So, and then I'll stop here. There's the stairs. And there we go. There's that one in. There we go. Oh, there we go. Now it's updated. Wow, we've had a lot of subscribers. So thank you for everyone that's subscribed. We're now on 379 subscribers. The live counter just hadn't updated, so thank you very much to everyone that has subscribed. Thank you. So now that goes over here. And I'm just going to place some more of the Deepslate bricks over here next to these stairs. That way there'll be no gaps in between the walls and the stairs. There we go. And now to just add a random selection of Deepslate polished and tile walls. And then fill in the rest of the area. Just like that. And there we go. And then I just need to add a layer of blocks on top of the walls. So thank you for everyone that has subscribed. And there we go. Add in that. And then I just need to add in some more stairs on top. I'm just going to quickly set the time today and have some more stairs. There we go. And that's a bit more of the castle complete. I feel like this is a bit too clear, so I'm going to add a few more black stained glass. There we go. And now back onto the roof. I'm just going to fill in this part, each part of these layers, with Deepslate. A bit more Deepslate. And then I'm going to add some walls on top of this. So that's that side complete. And then I'll continue around to this side. Now what I intend to do is to then place some slabs, so slabs, some polished Deepslate slabs, there we go, placing them. And then place them alternately, one up top, one below, just like that. Below, and then just keep repeating this pattern. Oh, that's a mistake. And there we go. I'm going to do this the same on both sides. Below, above, below. And then corner. Oh, 380. Thank you for the person who just subscribed. Yeah, and now I'm just going to add another layer of the Deepslate around this area. And there we go. Now I'm just going to get some of these walls and place them on the top of each one, just like that. To add a bit more detail as the walls onto the roof. There we go. Oh, yes, I just hit 380. There we go. Need to just place in some more of these. Now for this to just loop all the way back round to here. Now what I'm going to do is there's going to be underneath here, just a few blocks lower, there's going to be another viewing platform. And it will add a little bit more depth into the build. So let's add that. Add the mixture of walls. Fill the rest in with tiles. and then to just fill this all in. Like this. There we go. And now I'm just going to continue this part outwards. Connect that to there. Add the deep slate over here. And then I'm going to have it a block higher over there so that there's a bit more difference in height. And thank you to those who are still watching the stream. It's really nice of you to keep staying and watching. I'm going to get some deep slate slabs now. Deep slate slabs, there we go. Oh, time set noon. There we go. The timer's now been set to the noon, and just wrap that part off and have everything up here a slab higher. Soon the castle's going to be finished and it'll be time to be working on the landscapes. I hope you're all excited for that. So, there we go. So, and then placing these slabs in will be one of the final steps. And I'd love to hear your opinions in the chat. What are your opinions on the castle so far? And I'll just take a quick zoom out. What are your opinions on this castle? I would really appreciate you to type them in the chat. And if you want me to add anything particular to this castle, just let me know as well. So now it's time to start on the landscaping. But first of all, we need to move this. This was originally going to be the outline for a well, but I think it's far too big and it's slightly in the way. So let's start out by building a path to that bridge. So I'm going to get some path blocks, as well as some coarse dirt. And now I'm going to start building the path over to this area. So there we go. And I'm just going to continue building the path over here. And B-Dog, yes, I will do the interior. I'm just going to be doing some of the landscape and the area around it first. And then the last step I'll do would be to add the interior. So I'm just going to keep building along here. And once we've got the path shape roughly got out, there we go. Just going to remove some of these red flowers. We now have the general shape of the path. And then going to add a few soul. And then going to add a few coarse dirt over here. There we go. Just like this. And now with all the coarse dirt added in, I think I'll add a small tree over the side here, and then I'll add the well just here. So I'm going to get some logs. No wait, I'm going to get the bark, because that way the That way there's not any sides with the logs showing. So I'm going to then build this up to roughly the height I want this to be in. I think roughly there should be good. And there we go. And there we go. I'll build out some of the roots first, just like I'm doing here. And then expand that way. Make this feel a bit better. And then I'm going to add the leaves, or the branches for where the leaves will be placed. There we go. That looks a bit too big for the size of this, so I think this just needs to be expanded a bit more. Adding a bit more. Just like that. And then I'm going to be adding some branches. There we go. So, there we go. Build that down a bit. Build this side. Down a bit more. There we go. And then have one small one going above. And I'm going to set the time to noon. And once I finish building this tree, I'm then going to build the well. And then I'm going to go onto the interior of the castle. So there we go. Now I've got some oak leaves. To bring that down a bit. It's important to make sure that they're all at different heights and not the same. So otherwise your tree will look a bit too flat and not very good. So, there we go. And you'll need to do this for all of your branches. So, this shouldn't take too long, because we're only building one tree. There we go. And there we go. Filling in some of the leaves on the inside. That looks a bit too large at the bottom there, so then I can remove a few. And that's the first one complete. Now going to the second one. This should be a bit quicker, because now you've got the first one, you just need to copy the exact same steps. And there we go. Add the top part just like that. There we go. And then make sure to fill the underneath as well. And then the same on this side, which will be the final tree that I am building. There we go. And then we'll be building a quick well, and then onto the interior of the house, of the Deepslate castle. So, and then I can build this part up a bit. And there we go. And there we go, that tree is pretty much finished. There we go. And then for the well, I'm just going to get some normal stone bricks rather than deep slate, just as something a bit different. Some water, a cauldron. These. Okay. 3. Can add that there. And then with the addition of this and that, there we go. And there we go. And just to add some of the water underneath. Just to add a bit more detail to the bottom of this area. And then to add the stone bricks on the top, just like that. Go. We have a bit of a small well just here. And then we can now continue onto the insides of the Deepslate castle. So my first step will just be to make sure that all the holes are filled, like this one. And this area up here, I'm going to be building the interior. So most of this I'm quite happy with. So I'm going to give myself night vision, just so it's easier for you to see as well. Night vision. Then. And if you add this true command, then you can't see the particle effects. So my first step is just going to be to add different levels for the different heights. Add the different levels at different heights. So I'm just going to add the first level. And I will not keep all of it to be deep slate, but some of it I will. Also, thank you, Phantom Magnus. I'm glad you think this build is gorgeous. And there we go, and then I'm just going to add floor. Because once we have all the floors put in, it will then become a lot easier for the rest of the build. The floor. There we go. Oh, whoops. So, then I just need to continue this out a few blocks, and then I can have a higher floor. It's important to not just have floors that are entirely flat as well, because if they're entirely flat, then it also won't look too good. So, what I mean by this is not having everything at the same level. So then you could have a floor that's maybe at this height. And maybe it overlaps like this. As that will create your Minecraft houses, or in this case, a Deepslate castle, to look a lot nicer. So we just need to keep building and adding the floors. Oh, whoops. It shouldn't take too long until you have all the floor pans you want. There we go. I'm then going to build this side out a bit more. And there we go. Just a few more layers, and then the second floor will be complete. And then I intend to have 2 more layers as well. And there we go. And there we go. Oh, not too much left. And there we go. Got there we go. It's there. And then this part here is going to be extended to just about that. That should be good. Continue this along. There we go. There we go. And the third floor is complete. Also, another cool thing that you can do is to add isolated levels. For example, you could add a layer just underneath here, where there's a bit more space, as a bit of a basement where we'll build later. There we go. Not a lot. This layer doesn't have to be a lot bigger than all the others. It should actually be a lot smaller. Something this side should do. This size should do. And there we go. Maybe extend this side out a bit more. So it's a bit more of a L shape. There we go. I'm going to head back up to the top layer. Over here. And look down. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this floor plan. So I'm going to start out by clearing this wall and making it look cleaner. Making it a lot cleaner, just like this, by removing any gaps. Then I'm also going to add some pillars using some Deepslate bricks and polished Deepslate. So using these bricks, I can then take these down. And I'll extend this area out by just a few blocks, just so that it matches up with this level. And one more block just behind here. I'll add another layer. There we go. Oh, there we go. Just like that. I'll remove this and replace it with the Deepslate. However, I'm not going to use this Deepslate. I'm going to use Deepslate tiles. There we go. And by using a mixture of Deepslate tiles and cracked Deepslate tiles, you can create a wall that has a lot more detail. There we go. Just need to keep expanding this one. And there we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, there we go. And keep expanding it until you have something like that. There we go. And rather than using full Deepslate blocks, you can use Deepslate walls. 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Go. Make sure to have them all at the same distance as well. Apart from these end ones, as they will not always be the same difference. Now connect these to the floor. There we go. Quite simple and effective. And the last one I'll just have to bring down as wall. Then I'll add the rest of this wall back. Just like this. And then I'll come back through to the room. Add this over here. And add the wall there. I'm just going to add all the rooms first before I add any of the details. So then I'll add some stairs, probably over here. So getting some stair. Using some cobbled Deepslate. And there we go. We now have some stairs leading up to the top of this floor. Now this floor already mostly has a wall, but it just needs some neatening up in some areas, like this area over here. So I can just bring that area to a close. And bring this down. And I'll just neaten up all these walls over here as well. There we go. And I'll continue this along up until here. Add the walls, and then I'll need to add the floor as well. So if you haven't already, do remember to subscribe to the channel if you want amazing building tutorials that come out every Sunday at 12:45 GMT. And now I'm just going to fill in these walls as well. And fill this area. And the wall. Because it's quite important to have all the shapes first before you add particular rooms and specific detail. There we go. Then to get up to the top of this area, I think having some stairs starting here, going up to the top would be great. Make sure to add the stairs equally sized. There we go. So now we have two pairs of stairs that allow you to go through here and up to this other walking balcony. And now we can go down to here, which I think the most appropriate way to get down here would be through ladders or some sort of instant falling rather than some stairs. So I'm going to have a puddle of water here. Using a slab. And then a water bucket in the center. And I'm going to make sure to waterlog all of these blocks. Oh. There we go. And then there's a way out. I'm going to add some ladders. However, these ladders are going to be slightly broken to make it harder to go up. Now I'm just going to add the walls, some walls over here, because I intend for this to be like a dungeon of the castle. Now we can leave that for now and focus back on the first floor. So when you walk in, I want there to be a massive green carpet. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to get some lime wool, some lime carpet, and some glowstone. I'm going to start here, build out, and build along a few blocks. It's going to be a 3 wide carpet. Going all the way down to the end there. There we go. Now to add some glowstone randomly. This glowstone will be where you place your carpet. And then you just need to fill the rest of the area with the wool. because now we can add a bit more colour. Now right at the end I'm going to have a massive painting. I'm also just going to neaten up the roof a bit of this area, because we have the stairs of this. So I'm just going to cover it up. And I'm still going to have the outline that we had outside as well. So, time to add that in there. There we go. And then cover this area up. It still does look a bit plain, so I need to add some more details, such as spruce drip doors. And we can add some detail there, and probably some more detail over here. There we go. And then a lantern. Here and here. Okay, and now I'm going to add some seating just right here. So I'm going to get some stairs using spruce and a sign. Oh, there we go. One away. There we go. As detail along the, and then you can use the signs as detail along the sides of the chair. Just like that. Now on this side, I think having a load of storage would work best. So using some barrels, we can create them. There we go. Having the barrels look like they're overflowing can make it look like you've got a lot more storage, when in reality it's only a front facing. Now I'm going to add a few more paintings on the side here. And I'm going to put them here. And here. It's going to just add a bit more detail into this bottom floor. I'm also just going to change up some of the floor so that it has a bit more texture. And it doesn't look all flat or in lines. So let me know in the chat if you like this room, or if there's anything extra you should add. So now we're going to continue up these stairs and into this room. Now this room is going to be slightly more different because I'm going to add a banister. I'm going to add a banister to stop people from walking off. First of all, connecting these sides, and then connecting this all the way along. And I need to make sure that they're all even. Just like that. And now we have the banister. Now up here, I think a cool thing to add would probably be some beds. So I'm going to get some beds. I'm going to use the original red beds of Minecraft, and I'm going to place them in lines along the walls, and then I'm going to come back and add some details. Now using spruce, trapdoors, and a ladder. You can create some super easy and simple to build bunk beds. You just need to place the beds on top of the original beds. And then you need to hold down Shift and then place it on top of the trapdoor. Just like that. And now adding this and this. And then you have those, and then you can add an extra trapdoor if you want to add some extra details. You could even add some extra spare bunk beds if you want to, with empty. For example, you could add another layer of bed, then placing these. But having an empty bed on one side, so not having a bed here. I'll just keep these two as extra top bunk beds, with some extra railing as well. So now I'm just going to add another bit of way to. Now I'm going to do the dungeon. I'm going to add the dungeon. So using these blocks, and I'm going to expand this area. However, this section in the center will be where the dungeon is. So then just behind it, I'm going to add a load more blocks. Just like this, and then I'm going to build up. over here. And with all the walls completed, just like this, I can then start arranging where I want some of the dungeon areas to be. So using some iron bars, I know that I want one to be over here and one to be here. So the first step is to fill in all of the area where you want your dungeon to be. You want to fill in the entire dungeon so that it's all that, and it doesn't all need to be the same size. You can have some that are bigger than others. And you just need to have some that are slightly bigger than the others. So then you just need to build out. Just like this. And this can be a bit frustrating because the iron bars have a even smaller hitbox than most blocks, so they're quite hard to place. But once you place them all, it's quite easy. So now all the iron bars have been placed on this cell. And now almost the iron bars on this cell are being placed. Just like that. There we go. Now break some holes in your iron bars, just like this, on both sides, and try not to keep them as just shapes, just like that. You want to make sure that they're in different orders, like this. Then come in, and I'm going to place some skulls and some redstone as well. I'm going to place a skull here, some redstone, and a skull here as well, and a third one in the corner. Now I'm just going to end off this room, just like this. And add one more skull just next to the corner here. Next we've got this area in front of us here, which I'm just going to make a bit of a food storage area using campfires, then unigniting them using water buckets. But rather than using a water bucket, you can use splash potions of water. So just going to place in some of these, leaving a 1 block gap. Then building on top of this to create 2 layers of food. This might cause a bit of lag because there are a lot of smoke particles, but this will all be resolved in just a second when I fix it by spraying water over the top. And there we go, water has now been sprayed over the top. There we go. And more water there. Now, using the trapdoors we had from earlier, just to section off each area, each one of these food sections. So then, using an item frame and any raw material you want, so raw chicken or raw rabbit, but not any of the new raw ores, as they will not work. There needs to be a food item. You can then place an item frame at the front. Oh, and they float. So rather than placing them like that, just place them directly onto the campfires. So then you place the food that you're going to be placing in that area, and then you come along and you start clicking with the raw variant on top of the campfires. This one's the rabbit, so I'm going to start spam clicking with the rabbit. And then chicken. And then finally we have the raw mutton. And there we go. Now, I also think that because it's next to the dungeon, I think there should be some barriers stopping you from entering this area. So I think some broken down iron bars would work well. I think having them up to this layer should do good. And this might take a while because of the small hitboxes. But once you've got that, you now have a more unique entrance into the dungeon. Now heading back out of the dungeon, you can finally work on this layer here, which at the moment is just a walking path that you use to take, and it takes you up to the lookout area. But we can always add an area for you to sit. So by getting up some more spruce stairs, you can then create an area for you to sit. Just like this. Or like this. And then you can also add some signs. However, this time place them on the side for extra detail on the chairs. Now back into the interior. We're now going to head back up to this top section. And this area, I'm not going to really add too much to it. I'm just going to add some stairs leading up to it. These stairs will be from this level all the way up to there. So I'm going to grab my stairs and build them right here. As a much more interesting way to fill the sky above each floor. Then getting some more slabs, we can change the direction of which these are at. could change them to be a little bit closer to this way. And then continuing this onwards. I just need to double check that this works on both sides and that I do not hit the wall. One, two, three. 2, 3. Go. And then a second layer of slabs. Underneath placing these. This. Go. And then finally, if you can't add them all the way going down, we could just use some ladders in the corner. Just like that. Now to do the exact same thing on this side. So I just need to double check the height. So 51.5. And get rid of that. But you can always have something a bit different on each side. So I'm going to have this one so that it turns one more time. Just right in front. There we go. And this will go down to here. And I'm just going to continue this pathway all the way along, as that way it fits the area. So there we go. This part is complete. I can remove that and have a nice wall there and a pillar coming down to support. There we go. And make sure to have the pillar on both sides. But also try to have them at different areas so that they don't go directly in front of the stair, just like what I did. Have it a bit more like this. Okay. And now I'm just going to neaten up this side wall over here. Just because it has a few emeralds and these don't really work on the interior. And there we go. That wall is now fixed up. And both sides are neat. So then we can go up to the final floor. And just neaten up it as well. And now to add a bit more of the exact same design on these walls, which is the mixture of polished Deepslate and Deepslate tiles. And a quick reminder to anyone who is not already, please do subscribe, as it helps out a lot. Ooh, whoops. And there we go. That top floor is complete as well. Now we can back it to the top and neaten up this wall. So, building up here and here, and then just neatening up all the walls is the next thing I'm going to be doing. And then once I've neatened up all the walls, I'm then going to make sure to add some leaves and other grass to add more colour coming into the room from the ceilings. And there we go. Using stairs and slabs can also help, as they can make the transition between full blocks less harsh. And you could even have a few more details like these embedded into the walls. And with that, the bulk of this is complete. Now we just need to add some of the leaves. So I'm just going to get some of the slabs. And I'm going to grab some leaves. I'm going to grab some oak leaves and some flowering azaleas, as those are a new one that was released in Minecraft 1.17. So I'm going to add a few platforms for the leaves to start on, here and there. And then I'm going to have the leaves overflowing downwards into the room. That way it can just look a little bit more neater and less like just stone on stone. Or there we go. So once we've done a lot of this, it shouldn't take too much longer. It's just all about adding more detail into your builds. And if you're building along with this as well, then feel free to do the exact same thing. And you could have whatever different leaf types you want. And then I can add a few more flowering azaleas as a bit more colour. And to bring this back down, over here, there we go. And then we can have a few more like that. And there we go. And now you can also add some glow berries, but you also need some bone meal. As to make the glow berries glow, you need to use bone meal. So find an area where you want some glow berries, like underneath this room here, and try and space them out. Then build them down all to different heights. Just like this. And then add bone meal where you want the glow berries to actually be. Try and make these also different heights. And you could have these in multiple locations. Like over here as well. Yep, and then when you add them all back into... Then add some more over here. And also make sure you have them at different heights. Just like that. And with that, the Deepslate mansion, the Deepslate castle is complete. Let's have a quick tour. So if we walk across the bridge, we have a tree on our right and a well on the left. Then if we keep walking up, we arrive inside the house. Now we can have a quick look over on this seat and look at this wonderful painting. Or continue with this carpet over into our storage barrel area. Then we have the bunk beds. As well as the leaves on top. And then we have the dungeon going all the way down here with some skulls and some redstone. Some food storage area. And a walkway leading all the way to some stairs and up to some more seats over the ocean. And now we can continue walking forward over here and heading up some ladders and going up these stairs will lead us to the top balcony level. So, that's the end of this stream. Thank you all for watching to the end. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this building of this Deepslate castle. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!